It turns out that Hulkamania isn't always a good thing, and its effects have spread through Hulk Hogan's entire family. Be warned, this video may cause you to conclude that the Hogan family aren't exactly great people. Brace yourself, fans of true love. It turns out Hulk and Linda Hogan's marriage wasn't exactly one to aspire to. During season 3 of their reality show, Hogan Knows Best, Linda began to suspect that the Hulkster was ripping his shirt off for another woman. Specifically, his daughter's friend, Christiane Plant, who also worked as a receptionist at Brooke Hogan's record label.
She was this beautiful, fair-skinned brunette and just giant, you know. And every time she'd come over to the house, she was never off beat.
According to Linda, learning about the affair unsurprisingly put a bit of a damper on the end of the show's 3rd season. She went on to say in her interview for True Hollywood Stories, "I'm sure towards the end of our show, our tensions showed through. And it was to the point where I didn't care about a contract. I don't want to be on the show. I don't care." Hulk confirmed his involvement with Plant in his 2007 memoir, but in his defense, he claimed that they got intimate no more than 5 times, which implies that it was totally cool to do, since at least it wasn't 6 times. In a chat with the always reputable National Enquirer, Plant alleged that their relationship started when Linda and Hulk were separated. Plant further disclosed that the affair led to a strain on her friendship with Brooke, who shockingly wasn't all that cool about her friend getting it on with her married father. As Plant told the publication, "Having felt the guilt and pain build up, I gave a note to Brooke apologizing for my actions. I will never be able to fully forgive myself for this. I have lost an amazing friend." To the surprise of few, Linda Hogan filed for divorce from Hulk Hogan in November 2007. But it turns out that Hulk Hogan was one of the few who didn't see it coming. During an interview with the St. Petersburg Times, the reporter asked him about Linda's filing, to which Hulk replied, "Thank you for the great information. Wow, you just knocked the bottom out of me." Linda and Hulk formalized their divorce in July 2009 after a hostile process that could have doubled for a WWE match. Years after she reportedly walked away with a 70% share of the couple's joint assets and investments, Linda claimed that she too experienced a different kind of blindsiding during the divorce.
My lawyers were in cahoots with his lawyers. They had everything set up where they were cashing in on me.
She went on to explain the situation further, saying, "Half of my settlement went to lawyers and back into the lawyer pod, and I ended up with hardly anything." In July 2011, Linda Hogan decided to lay one more smackdown on Hulk when she authored Wrestling the Hulk: My Life Against the Ropes. In the book, Linda disclosed that she had to endure the use of steroids and drugs in her marriage and further accused Hogan of domestic violence.
It was really just a bullying or a brawly kind of a thing, you know, or a poking or squeezing your face or, you know, pulling you around by your shirt or your hair.
The former wrestler responded with a countermove, filing a lawsuit against Linda for defamation in December 2011. According to court documents, Hulk was reportedly seeking an injunction to prevent Linda from making any public remarks about their relationship. But we'll have to rely on our imaginations when it comes to the outcome. At the time of this video, the fate of the case has not been made public. In March 2012, the former couple went to battle in the courtroom once again, this time arguing over insurance coverage as a result of a car accident involving their son. We'll get more into that crash a little bit later, but the lawsuit was ultimately dismissed. For more proof that we're living in the dumbest timeline, turn your attention to the following summation of one of the biggest news stories of 2012. Hulk Hogan sex tape with ex-wife of Bubba the Love Sponge leaked by a fellow radio DJ. We're tempted to simply move on from there, but here's a bit more context for those who want to get into the dirty details.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's gotta micro it.
In 2012, a sex tape featuring Hogan and Heather Clem, the ex-wife of Florida DJ Bubba the Love Sponge, was leaked to the public. In a case of truly living up to his name, Mr. Love Sponge recorded the video himself, apparently wanting to capture the tender interaction between his former spouse and his good friend. It was alleged that Bubba was in possession of the damaging clip at his workplace, and a competing DJ eventually got hold of it. For those at home thinking, wow, this is the kind of story I'd read a whole dang book about, There's good news for you. Ryan Holiday authored a book based on the case and explained how the most horrifying video since the one from The Ring was unleashed onto the public. Telling The Atlantic about Bubba's fellow DJ, he started to leak the videos. Not to embarrass Hogan, but to embarrass Bubba, whose time slot he was trying to steal. In October of that year, gossip site Gawker published bits of the tape online, resulting in Hulk filing a lawsuit against the site. Hulk's case was reportedly backed by billionaire and ex-PayPal CEO Peter Thiel, who was said to be out to seek revenge after the publication outed his sexuality in 2007. In March 2016, Hulk smashed in the legal sense and won the case, ultimately being awarded $115 million in damages. He eventually settled with the publication for $31 million in cash, which threw Gawker out of business. His ex-wife, Linda Hogan, did not take a liking to his victory.
I don't know how he can sleep at night knowing that he's got the money for doing what he did.
Following her separation from Hulk Hogan, Linda Hogan was apparently looking for a different kind of romantic partner, specifically one that wasn't legally allowed to drink. When 48-year-old Linda began dating 19-year-old Charlie Hill, it's safe to say that her daughter Brooke wasn't a big fan of the relationship. As she said in a 2008 interview with Access Hollywood, "I don't believe what's going on, I don't condone it, and I'm like, who are you?" Despite her daughter's objection, Linda and Charlie eventually got engaged, but they broke up in May 2012. 2 years after they called it quits, Hill put on his big boy pants and sued Hogan for a reported $1.5 million. Per reports, Hill claimed that he did a lot of unpaid labor for Hogan, which included digging, landscaping, managing a group of chainsaw laborers, and of course, waxing the yacht. If that last bit of labor didn't clue you in enough, Hill was said to have had a luxurious life while dating Linda, and he supposedly received a $9,000 settlement when they split up. The case was ultimately dismissed in 2015, but at least by then, Hill had the ability to soothe the pain by ordering a drink. The whole sex tape scandal was so crazy that we didn't even have the time to talk about how Hogan reportedly used a racial slur in the video. According to the New York Times, Hulk confessed that he was, quote, racist to a point, and used the N-word while referencing Brooke's relationship with a black man. So apparently that point he referenced is pretty far over towards bigotry on the old racist scale. Consequently, the 2015 revelation led to the end of Hulk's contract with WWE after he faced public backlash. Amid the allegations, Brooke took to Facebook to say that she was standing by her father. And the Hulkamania around his use of the slur ultimately forced Hulk to apologize.
I was at the lowest point of my life. My personal life was destroyed. I was very mad at my daughter.
The Hulkster was even removed from the WWE Hall of Fame, showing that the organization wouldn't stand for that behavior. For a little while. Hogan was reinstated in 2018. A person's wedding is one of the most important and, hopefully, most joyous days of someone's life. And Hulk Hogan apparently liked this so much that he did it 2 more times. After his marriage to Linda ended after a measly 5 times of cheating, Hulk tied the knot with Jennifer McDaniel in December 2010. The pair remained married for a little over a decade, before the Hulkster not only announced his divorce in February 2022, but introduced the woman who'd become the 3rd Mrs. Hulk, yoga instructor Sky Daly. The following year, they walked down the aisle in Clearwater, Florida in a low-key wedding ceremony. Well, as low-key as a wedding can be when the couple is rocking $500,000 wedding bands.
Treat yourself.
A noticeably absent guest was Brooke, who had to miss her father's wedding because she was busy doing anything else. As she later explained on Instagram, "My family has experienced a lot of change. For my own journey to healing and happiness, I have chosen to create some distance between myself and my family." For years, Brooke Hogan appeared to have a close relationship with her mother. But according to a 2009 interview with amateur filmmaker Bubba the Love Sponge, it was only because there was no one else around. In her own words, Brooke said, "We were close because I was like, I didn't know any different." Brooke added that the two had become distant once she began to live on her own. And according to Linda's Instagram stories in March 2025, things hadn't gotten much better.
My family is in the worst mess. Brooke doesn't talk to us. She's had twins. She got married. She didn't tell us. She had twins. She didn't tell us.
In her first response to Linda's post, Brooke disclosed that the family was no longer close for the simple reason that it's not all that enjoyable to be around abusive people. Brooke took to Instagram to write, "I have been extremely verbally and mentally abused since childhood. Sadly, it would frequently turn physical. And sometimes it's not by the person you would assume. Abuse comes in all shapes and sizes." In a since-deleted Facebook post, Linda claimed that she had only ever spanked Brooke one time and, quote, called her a couple of names. She then proved what a good mother she is by accusing her daughter of bearing narcissistic traits. As to how she would have gotten those particular genes is obviously a mystery. Brooke's husband, Stephen Alexi, took to Instagram to defend her, thanking their fans for showing solidarity with their family and insisting that his wife wasn't out to seek sympathy. In the midst of his response, he wrote, "I cannot stand by and allow anyone to continue to hurt not only the most amazing person I am fortunate enough to call my wife, but also the distorted sense of power and relevance the media can sometimes grant individuals." So far in this video, we've only briefly mentioned Hulk and Linda's son Nick. But his moment in the sun amongst our tale of family drama came in 2007, when he reportedly caused a car crash while racing. Nick was driving a Toyota Supra in Clearwater, Florida, when he lost control and ended up smashing into a tree. He was in the company of friend John Graziano, who was hospitalized after suffering a traumatic brain injury and was released after 2 years, reportedly needing care for the rest of his life. Graziano's family filed a lawsuit against Nick, which ended in a settlement in the neighborhood of $5 million in 2011. Consequently, Nick received an 8-month sentence for driving recklessly. Despite Brooke claiming that he was involved in a couple confrontations with other inmates, Nick was let go after only serving 5 months. But it seems that his time in jail wasn't enough of a deterrent to keep him out of trouble. In November 2023, Nick was caught driving while inebriated and reportedly had an altercation with a police officer that nearly turned physical. But he still received a 1-year probation sentence, in addition to $1,000 in fines and orders to undergo sobriety tests after 4 months.